welcome back to my channel, and my name is Michelle. I do faith-related content. So today what I would like to share more about is with regards to working. Like how do we really just find joy in working and not make working become like a hustle culture, which what we have nowadays, where people always say that their end goal, right, it's always to stop working. Like work just has a very bad it just has a very bad feeling to it. Like when we talk about work, it just feels so painful. Like, why do we have to work? Like, that kind of thing. And I think everybody is always looking forward to stop working and to retire. And I feel like personally, I am also, I used to also really hate working. And yeah, like I never really liked working. And they always say that you shouldn't you should enjoy what you do. You should enjoy your work. So I spent the last week really just reflecting about this and really bringing it to God and asking God, like, what is it about work that we really don't like about. And there was once my boss actually told me before, like, a lot of times, right, words are just words, but we are the one that attach meaning to it. Yeah, so this whole week is a lot about what is this meaning that we have behind work that makes it so undesirable. And I think like one of the things that I first went into definitely is I went into the Bible to start finding out, like, what work really means in God's kingdom. So I started off with reading Genesis 1, which I don't really like to read the Old Testament, because I feel like the Old Testament is it's very hard for me to understand. It's very hard for me to really visualize what it really means. Yeah, but I think as I started to read Genesis 1, I realized that I had a different feeling towards it. Like, I started to understand a bit more, especially now that when I wanted to know more about work, how does God view work in his eyes. I started to read Genesis with a very different perspective, and I started to see that every single day God created different things on earth, right? And he really took his time to create every single day. And every single day when he did something, he didn't stop doing it because he was tired, but he stopped doing it because he felt like it was good, like everything was good, and that's why he stopped working. And I also noticed that God didn't rush through doing what he had to do. He didn't do it because he wanted to get more revenue. He didn't do it because he wanted men to look up to him. He didn't do things for very external reasons, but he do it because he felt like, okay, like for example, he first day there was a light and day, right? And there was light and day because he needed to be able to differentiate, like, when is daytime and when is light, so that we were able to tell time. And that's why he created light and day, right? So after reading through Genesis and realizing all these things that how God sees work, I started to also ask myself and reflect, like, okay, why can't I also do the same? Why can't I also take my time, and why can't I also really just do my work because I want to create an impact and not because for external reasons. And yeah, and I think one of the things that came up for me was that I think the main reason is because there's this thing where it's called fear of man. Yeah, and I only know about this like this week. So for very long, there was this verse in Proverbs 29, which I have came across before, and it says that verse 29, chapter 29, verse 25, which says that fearing people is a dangerous trap, but trusting the Lord means safety. So this verse came up for me this week, and I realized that this is actually one of the main reasons why I couldn't enjoy work, because of this thing called the fear of man. And the interesting thing is that, fear of man and fear of the Lord, it's totally opposite from each other. And you can't have both together. You can only choose one side. And I think for the longest time, I find it very, very hard to do what I want to do, because I get very easily affected by what people say. Especially by people who I respect, by people who I look up to. I would want to do what they want me to do. And when, whatever they want me to do is not in alignment with what I want to do, I get very frustrated and I get upset, and then after that, I will go down to the path of just following what they want me to do. And that was why I kept going back and forth in my life. Like a lot of times I felt like, okay, I know what I want to do, I can go forward. But then again, when somebody of authority figure and come and tell me and say that, oh, you shouldn't be doing this and things like that, I will get wavered, and then I will go back to that again. And it causes me to not have any progress in life. And I constantly feel stuck in a lot of areas in my life, and I always feel like a victim of my life, because I feel like I'm out of control. I can't control what's happening, and yeah, so that was the thing that I realized that actually kept me stuck in my work as well, because I have this fear of man. And fear of man really is that thing that a lot of us will not realize that we have it, and some of the things that that you will experience if you have this thing about fear of man is that you just want to get approval from your bosses, you want to get approval from the people around you, you want to get praise, you want to get recognition, and all this praise and recognition is what gives you the security, gives you the significance in whatever that you're doing. It makes you feel good, in whatever that you're doing. And actually that is the thing that is keeping us from enjoying the work that we do. Because like I said, fear of man and fear of the Lord, you can only choose either one. You cannot have both at the same time. So fear of the Lord means that not that you're scared of God, but it's more of because you love someone so much. It's the same as you love a man so much, right? You love somebody so much in your life that you wouldn't want to upset this person. So you try to do your best to make this person happy, to get approval from this person. And it's the same thing. So fear of the Lord is like you love God so much that you do not want to do anything that is against God's words, and you wouldn't want to step out of God's alignment because you love God. And that is what we meant by fear of the Lord. So on the opposite side, fear of the man is the same thing. You love this person or you respect this person, that you just want to listen to what this person says. So I think I had to come to terms to understand that, when we are walking in alignment with God, it doesn't mean that every single time things will just turn out perfectly. Relationships will be perfect, will be very good. There'll be no quarrels, there'll be no conflicts. But actually, it's on the opposite side. In fact, when you walk in God's alignment, there are many times that you will feel like you are walking in the opposite direction from the people that you respect, from the people that you look up to. There are many times that you will feel this way, and it's okay. And that is when we need God in our lives to help us to fight this battle. And always know that, when this kind of disagreement comes in, in work or in family, in any parts of your life, right? It's not about you, it's about the that there is a dark side, and the light, right? So we are on the bright side, the day, right? And then there's a dark side, and the dark side will always want to break our relationships, will always want to take away whatever that will expand God's kingdom. And in God's kingdom, right, relationship is important, money is important, career is important. All these things are important to God. And that's why the enemy will want to come and sabotage all these things. So know that, in times where you have disagreements with your bosses, disagreements in family, disagreement with your spouse, disagreement with your boyfriend, girlfriends, or friends, okay, know that this is nothing to do with them, but it's more of a spiritual war. And that's when we need to invite God in to fight this for us. And know that, during this period, this kind of season in your life, right? Do not, get into quarrels. Do not, start to get worried or afraid, but really just rest this into God's hands and know that God will fight this battle for you. And through all this time, right? Okay, just remember to be patient, and also keep on praying. Instead of fighting back, instead of just like getting into quarrels and things like that. I think the most important thing is always spend time with God, always be in prayer with God, and always remember like who you are in Christ, and always remember that God has your back. And sometimes we just have to wait. Sometimes we just have to get through all these things. And sometimes God put us through all these seasons in our lives, right? It's also for us to change our heart posture. And also, like a lot of things He do, right? It's for us. And it's not happening to us, but it is happening for us. That's all I have to share today. So, anytime you feel like, you want to do what God tells you to do, but yet you feel like there's a lot of oppression, there's a lot of tension, in work or in family, just know that, God is with you, and that it doesn't mean that you're on the wrong track. It might just mean that you're on the right track, right? But so don't lose heart, and just remember that when you work, you should work with the intention to add value, with the intention to impact somebody, your workplace, your colleagues, whatever. But never do it out of seeking approval or recognition or even like promotion from your job. So that's all I have to share today. So thank you so much, and see you guys. Bye.